श्लोके भक्ति भवति न sticky. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 29, Text number 44. The chapter is titled The Explanation of Devotional Service. Guna abhimanino deva sarga disha ashayat bhayat vartante anuyugam yesham vasa etat characharam. Guna abhimanino deva sargadeshu asyayat bhayat vartante anuyugam yesham vasa etat characharam. Guna abhimanino deva sargadeshu asyayat bhayat vartante anuyugam yesham vasa etat characharam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the directing demigods in charge of the modes of material nature carry out the functions of creation, maintenance, and destruction. Everything animate and inanimate within this material world is under their control. Purport. The three modes of material nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance, are under the control of three deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Lord Shiva. Lord Vishnu is in charge of the mode of goodness, Lord Brahma is in the charge of the mode of passion, and Lord Shiva is in charge of the mode of ignorance. Similarly, there are many other demigods in charge of the air department, the water department, the cloud department, etc. Just as the government has many different departments, so within this material world, the government of the Supreme Lord has many departments. And all these departments function in proper order out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Demigods are undoubtedly controlling all matter, animate and inanimate, within the universe. But above them, the Supreme Controller is the Personality of Godhead. Therefore, in the Brahma Samhita it is said, Ishvara Parama Krishna. Undoubtedly, there are many controllers in the departmental management of this universe. But the Supreme Controller is Krishna. There are two kinds of dissolutions. One kind of dissolution takes place when Brahma goes to sleep during his night, and the final dissolution takes place when Brahma dies. As long as Brahma does not die, creation, maintenance, and destruction are actuated by different demigods under the superintendence of the Supreme Lord. Om Jnanatimindasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurnumitanyena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manabhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamayam Dharatisa Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Srijitapadakamam Shri Gurum Vaishnavansya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathavitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Pariyana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanto Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayavacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Guna Abhimanino Deva Sargadeshu Asya Yad Bhayat Vartante Anuyugam Yesham Vasa Etat Characharam. Out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the directing demigods in charge of the modes of material nature carry out the functions of creation, maintenance, and destruction. Everything animate and inanimate within this material world is under their control. So, here, as we were discussing earlier in this section, we see the characteristics of time that the Supreme Lord, who under his control is the time, right? Under his control is the time. And with the characteristics of the time, we see that everything is functioning in this material world, in this material universe, under the superintendence of the Supreme Lord. Maya dakshana prakati shuyate sacharacharam. Right. And out of his sphere, right, the sphere of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just like for any organization, there needs to be a leader, there needs to be we have big companies, there is a manager, there is a director, there is the CEO of that particular company, right? You look any administration, there's a prime minister. But then under that prime minister, then there are, or president, there are different departments. Similarly, in the supreme governance of the Supreme Lord, the Lord is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is at the top. But then he has delegated his authority to these different department heads, right? So similarly, we see that Prakriti Kriyamnani Gune Karmani Sarvasva, right? Tibi Gunamai Bhavai Ebim Saramidam Jagatam Mohitam Nabijanati Mamebyam Paramavayam. The Lord creates these three modes of material nature. Though He creates these three modes of material nature, and everybody, every living entity comes under its purview, He is not influenced by these three modes of material nature. Right? He is not influenced by these three modes of material nature. So those three modes of material nature is mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance, right? And for each of those modes, there is a controller, right? Mode of goodness is controlled by Lord Vishnu, mode of passion by Lord Brahma, and mode of ignorance by Lord Shiva. And through them comes creation, maintenance, and destruction, right? The secondary creation comes from Lord Brahma. The maintenance comes from Lord Vishnu, who is a supreme maintainer. And the destruction comes from Lord Shiva. And then there are, Sri Prabhupada mentioned that there are means two dissolutions. One which happens after a day of Lord Brahma is over, right? After 12 hours of Lord Brahma is over, and then there is night, there is a partial dissolution. But Lord Brahma also has a lifespan of 100 years. And after Lord Brahma's 100 years, there is a complete dissolution. There is a complete dissolution, right? Where all material universe are dissolved and winds up back into the body of Mahavishnu, right? So, so everything is working with the arrangement done by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And all these different demigods, right? Srila Prabhupada mentions about these different departments like the rain, uh, the water department, the cloud department, the air department, all are controlled by different demigods, right? All are controlled by different demigods. So, and why it is being done, it's mentioned that it's done by the fear. But fear in the sense that, okay, there is a supreme, supreme Lord to whom they are all accountable. They may at times forget uh, their the Lord's position, just like we see at times Lord Indra, the rain god. Um, he feels, oh, why Lord Krishna, who is this child who is stopping my sacrifices? And he forgets his position. And what happens? He becomes angry, immediately invokes some Vartaka clouds that, okay, destroy this entire area by inundating them with lots of water and flooding them, right? And that gives rise that to he facilitates the Lord's Leela of Govardhan Leela, where the Lord lifts Govardhan. Because he is the supreme controller, he is the supreme beneficiary, right? And what happens after that? After 7 days and night, Lord Indra could not do anything. And he understands his position that, oh, this is not an ordinary boy, this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, how do I approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Out of complete embarrassment and fear that, oh, I have committed such a big aparadh. He comes into his senses. He goes to his spiritual master, Brihaspati. What should I do? I have committed this grave mistake. Right? I want to apologize to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but how do I do this? He's fearful. Right? He's fearful. And the spiritual master Brihaspati directs him, okay, to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The best person to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Mother Cow, Shurabhi cow. So, take Mother Shurabhi to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? To the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Lord Indra does that. and should be glorified the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord is pacified, right? Then he gives us private audience to Lord Indra, and Lord Indra tries to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead, perform his Abhishek, which is Airavat, right? With his carrier Airavat, performs his Abhishek. And ultimately submits to the Supreme Personality of Godhead with his full apology of what a grave mistake he had committed. Right? So that is out of fear of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just like we see in Narasingha Leela, when the Lord appears as a half man, half lion. Now, he's completely enraged in anger. He kills Hiranyakashipu and his entire, all his entire army, he kills them. He's enraged in anger because his devotee was harassed. Right? Was harassed. And all the demigods assembled there were all fearful of how they can even approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, especially Lord Brahma. Right? Because he had given all these boons to Hiranyakashipu. Right? Almost had made him immortal. But the Lord found a way to kill him, even after, by following all the boons which Lord Brahma had given, still he found a loophole and killed Hiranyakashipu. But all the demigods, including Mother Lakshmi, were fearful of approaching. And they somehow pushed Prahlad Maharaj that, oh, you go. Seeing you, the Lord will be completely pleased. And Prahlad Maharaj goes in front of Lord Nrsimhadev and starts offering his prayers. And Lord Nrsimhadev is so pacified. Immediately lifts Prahlad Maharaj and puts him on his lap. Right. So we see these different instances where the demigods are fearful of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right. Because he's the supreme controller, the supreme beneficiary. So when they do certain things which is harmful to the Lord's devotees, Lord becomes highly enraged. Right, and needs to be pacified. Okay, are there any questions, discussions on this topic? Let's stop the share.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept humble obeisance to all Varishta Srila Prabhupada. Prabhu, demigods are also devotees of Krishna.
Yes.
So, how can a devotee be scared of God? Shouldn't they be loving him?
Yeah, they also have material desires. Right? And suppose you are a devotee of the Supreme Lord, and somehow you have succumbed to material desires. For instance, like watching IPL or whatever it is, and your spiritual master comes, what would happen to you? The spiritual master can see through what desires are there in your heart and what you are harboring in your heart. right?
Mm.
But for a while you'll become fearful,
Mm.
right? So similarly, the demigods are devotees of the Supreme Lord, but they are also considered as Sakam devotees of the Supreme Lord. They harbor material desires.
So, Prabhu, demigods are jivas, and they do all these tapasyas or whatever, and they get those positions, correct?
Yes.
So, isn't that tapasya purification? Then, how does that desire remain, or is it not fully purified?
Yeah, it's not, there, as you mentioned, the tapasyas. It's not pure bhakti. Right. It's not pure bhakti. Just like we see Ved Bhagavatamrita when Narad Muni, not to establish the highest recipient of the Lord's mercy, he goes to starting from the Brahmana to a king, to Lord Indra, to Lord Brahma, to Lord Shiva, and at the same time, they are in this advanced position that they are aware of their faults or limitations, not faults, limitations. So they guide him to the next level. Right? They guide him to the next level of the recipient of the Lord's mercy. So we come to Lord Shiva, then comes Prahlad Maharaj, then comes Hanuman, right? Then
Mm.
comes the Pandavas, then comes the Yadavas, and ultimately the Braj Gopis, aided by Srimati Radharani. Who are situated in unalloyed devotional service. So, yes, all are performing devotional service, but then there are different gradations. Is that all right?
Yeah, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else? Sorry for being late. The verse was assigned to a devotee. Somehow I don't see. I'll have to find out what happened. Okay. Thank you very much. For further discussion, if anybody has questions, they can reach out in Nityam Bhagavata Sevya group. We like to wish everybody a safe and Krishna conscious day ahead, a day before a long weekend. Yeah. We like to offer our prayers to the Supreme Lord by chanting Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Shina Shingo, Jaina Shingo,
Nrsimha, Jai
Jaina
Jai
Shingo,
Nrsimha Dev,
Radesha, Jaya Padma, Mukha Padma Bringa, Ugraveena Mahavishnu, Durantam Sarvatomukham, Narsingam, Bhishanam Bedram, Nityam Hrimayam. Nrsimha Bhagwan ki Jai, Maharaj ki Jai. Let's offer our humble obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas,
Vanchakalpataruvasya
Kripa
Kripasindhava
Patitanam
Patitanam
Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
Namo
Namaha.
Namah
Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Ki
Jai.
Jai
Srila Prabhupada ki
Ki
Jai.
Jai
Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari
Hari
Hari
Bol.
Hare Bol. Thank you, Madhuvati Prabhu, for taking the
Thank you
class.
Hari
Thank you. Hare
Bol. Thank you
Krishna.
everybody.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.